Beach Community Redevelopment, or our CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency. We're delighted to have each of you with us. At this time, Ms. LaMagna will read the procedures for tonight's meeting.
Good evening. Agendas are available in the front of the room on the table to my right. All of the exhibits pertaining to items on the agenda are posted on the bulletin board. Please feel free to view the exhibits at any time during tonight's meeting. You are required to fill out a blue form to speak before the Community Redevelopment Agency. The blue forms are located next to the Assistant City Clerk, Ms. Allison Brown. You must complete the sections that ask for your name, address, topic of concern, agenda item number, signature, and date. The form must be completed and placed in the designated box. You will not be allowed to speak if your form is not placed in the designated box. Resolutions under administrative item number 6 are open for public comments, and you may fill out a blue form to speak when that item is called. All citizens completing a blue form will be allowed to speak for 2.5 minutes. When you approach the lectern, please speak clearly into the microphone and give your full name and address. The 2.5-minute clock on the monitor above and directly in front of you will start running when you begin to speak. Pay close attention to your time. You will be told when your time has expired. Disorderly conduct in the public meeting of the City Commission. Article 2, Section 6238 of the City Code of Ordinances reads as follows. It shall be unlawful for any person to behave in a riotous or disorderly manner in any public meeting of the City Commission, or any committee, agency, or board thereof, or to cause any unnecessary disturbances therein by force, shouting, or any other action calculated to disrupt such meeting, or to refuse to obey any ruling of the presiding officer or such meeting relative to the orderly process thereof. All conversation must take place either at the lectern or on the dais so that everyone can hear the business being discussed tonight.
Ms. LaMagna, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Delgado.
Present.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Gilliland. Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Traeger.
Here.
Mayor Derek L. Henry.
Here. At this time, we will now have the invocation led by yours truly, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Traeger. Please rise for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Gracious Creator, we thank you for this day that you have blessed us with. We thank you for the purpose for which we come to this meeting. We ask that you would crown each of us with wisdom and consideration and thoughtfulness that would help to make our city a better place. We ask that you would bless our community, and we ask a very special blessing at this time upon the family of Barbara Bush and our nation as we mourn the loss of a great and noble matriarch. These and all blessings we do ask in the matchless name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes of the February 7th, 2018 regular meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
So move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Traeger, second from Commissioner Gilliland. Do we have any questions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those who are in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Now move on to agenda item number 5. It is the agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one change in addition of 6B, Development and Administrative Services Redevelopment Division. It's the acquisition of property at 729 East International Boulevard, and approving the administration. We'll put it in under administrative items.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gilliland. We'll take a second from Commissioner Delgado. There are no further comments. We'll entertain a vote. All those who are in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
We'll now move on to item number 6, which is our administrative items. Item number 6A is the Cultural and Leisure Services Division 2018 Imperial Session of the Shriners International Ratification Resolution. A resolution authorizing funding in the amount up to $85,000 for the 2018 Imperial Session of the Shriners International in the Main Street redevelopment area and providing an effective date.
So moved. Second.
We'll take a motion from Commissioner White and a second from Commissioner Reed. Do we have any questions or comments, Speaker?
I do have one speaker, Mr. Mayor, Mr. John Nicholson.
One and only.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. As most of you know, the Shriners were almost a year ago. They planned a year or two in advance. Why did it take Helen a year to 2 years to find out about the $85,000? This is the kind of thing that we shouldn't wait till the last second. Those of us that go to the CRA meetings are told that we don't need to know how much money there is. We don't need to know where the city is going to spend the funds. The CRA is not told if there's any public building or projects inside the CRA. I think that's unacceptable. The CRA should be told how much money is coming in. We know that $6.5 million came in. We know that $2.5 or so goes out to the bond issues. What happens to the rest of the funds? They should know that. If you go to the DDA meeting, they do all kinds of things with their funds. We don't have a comparable entity on the beach side for the DDA, nor do we have one from the old Main Street. I don't mean Main Street, but I mean the concept of Main Street USA. Main Street CRA, Beachside CRA, is floundering. They just had a big committee meeting on it, and they lambasted the city on several occasions about Main Street. The latest one is that the fuel tax, which you will be discussing, none of that money was scheduled to go to the beachside. It was mentioned several times. So we have to do something about beachside. When we closed the approach, it literally killed beachside, and we've never done anything to rectify.
Stay on this item.
Pardon?
Stay on the item.
Oh, okay. So this $85,000 came out of nowhere. Where is the money for other projects for the beachside? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just a comment. This is the CRA. He's talking about a redevelopment board, which is not the policy-making body. The CRA is the city commission.
And we have our workshop about the sales tax next week. So
yeah. Absolutely.
My next speaker is Doyle Lewis. It's speaking on item 6A.
my name is Doyle Lewis. I'm watching every single move you make in Daytona Beach. I have been for years. Sorry I didn't tell you about the first 10 years of watching you. You made me homeless. I'm a home builder. I can build my home with my eyes shut without your permission.
Doyle, are you going to address the issue?
Yes, the Shiners have been around forever, and I love every international club that's around Daytona Beach. If somebody questions what the Shiners do, then they should be more international trade advocates. When you get $85,000 put in your pocket to help Daytona Beach, you should smile and shake the hand of the person who gave it to you. Because of one reason. They're international people, just like the VFW is, just like the Casey Hall, just like the Eagles are, and everything else that's military. The reason why these people do this is they put their lives on the line every single day to make sure you have freedoms in America, to keep the American people young and healthy, without medical issues in the mind. My wife used to take care of elderly people. They forget what they do. And then they get mad at the young. Trust me, I'm telling you the truth right now, and you can look at me all you want, but the Shriners have been doing more good in America and around the world, and when they give you $85,000 and you question them, you need to leave the building. Thank you.
That was my final speaker for this
Thank you.
item.
I'm not-
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
This is for this year, 2018. This is not for last year. Is that
correct.
okay?
That's correct.
So it has not come yet. So I don't know. Did not quite understand what John was talking about. How it took so long
I didn't either.
because this hasn't even come yet.
This is an item was really approved, 3 years ago. So this is not something new that's just been
That's
dropped
what I
in.
thought.
Okay. Do we have any other speakers? And if we do,
No, sir.
try to remain germane to the topic always. Okay. All those who are in, we have a motion and a second. All those who are in favor of this item, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
We'll now move on to item number 6B, which is the Development and Administrative Services Redevelopment Division, Blue Sky of Daytona, Inc., 729 East International Speedway Boulevard. It's a resolution approving the expenditure of tax increment funds from the Main Street Redevelopment Area Trust Fund for the purchase of real property located at 729 East International Speedway Boulevard from Blue Sky of Daytona, Inc., for a purchase price of $905,000 plus up to $1,000 in closing costs and providing an effective date.
Second.
We'll take a motion from Commissioner Gilliland and a second from Commissioner White.
And I do have speakers, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sure. Okay.
Our first speaker is Mr. John Nicholson, and on deck is Jenny Nazak.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granby Avenue. As you know, this little tiny, minuscule piece of property sits on the corner of A1A and ISB. The question I have is, have you predetermined that we will do a roundabout at A1A and 92 with Jim? Is it something that you have discussed with him in your meetings prior to coming in, or is it something that will be determined in the future? It appears that this tiny piece of property has only value if we put in a roundabout. Or have we predetermined what side of the street that we're going to widen? Thank you.
My next speaker is Jenny Nazak, and on deck is Frank Molinar.
Good evening, fellow citizens and city leaders. I'm Jenny Nazak, 501 Harvey. I'm a city girl, first of all. I love business, and I love walking down a street and seeing it packed with businesses that are open and operating. I've lived in Daytona Beach almost 8 years, and nothing's ever been open there. And all up and down the street, nothing's ever been open. And so now the CRA funds, $905,000 are going to be deployed to purchase this property. What about if the CRA funds all these years had been more deployed to try to help more businesses open all up and down this corridor? Maybe they have. I have very imperfect knowledge, and so if I speak wrong, forgive me. But it feels like this huge chunk of money, if it could have been more parceled out amongst the businesses. What were the obstacles to businesses operating? Renovation costs, maybe permitting fees could have been forgiven. I don't know. I could think of so many other uses for these funds that could have made all up and down the street more lively all along. And now this gentleman, as I understand, Mr. Delanoy has always wanted to do business at that corner, and it just didn't seem to be working out. You know, I feel sad about that. My favorite place in the world to hang out is the most crowded part of downtown Tokyo. It's packed with tiny little businesses. It's so full of life. Even if I don't like to shop at a certain business, I just love to see it there. Now, if Tokyo had a beach, I probably would have never left, but I fell in love with Daytona Beach. So here I am, speaking at these meetings. I sure would love to see our ISB corridor all packed and lively, like DeLand, like downtown DeLand kind of feel, very walkable and intimate. And I hope that this very large use of CRA funds will help facilitate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Frank Molnar, and on deck is Sean Kerr.
Good evening,
My name is Frank Molnar, 2607 South Peninsula, Daytona Beach. Good evening, Mr. Chisholm, Mr. Mayor, the entire City Commission. I'm just here tonight in support of the item 6B, which I think is the first step in redeveloping East ISB. Many of you know I've spent about the last 4 years working with the Daytona Beach Chamber on their Economic Development Board. 4 years ago, they set out and came up with an idea of one street they thought would have the biggest impact for the entire city of Daytona Beach. And they came up with a crazy idea of trying to redevelop East ISB, and everybody said, you're crazy. That's going to be an uphill battle. But with the entrance to our beach, it's such a critical artery, and I think by getting this first acquisition of property, it's a step in the right direction. I'm currently chair of the Economic Development Committee for Daytona Beach Chamber. I spent the last year on the Beachside Redevelopment Committee for Volusia County, and if any of you have read the paper, it's all about redevelopment of East ISB. That's been obviously there's some other issues that we're going to recommend as well, but East ISB is definitely a step in the right direction, and I thank you for your leadership. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Sean Kerr, and on deck is Eddie Hennessy.
Good evening, Sean Kerr, 16 Blackwater Way, Ormond Beach. I am also here in support of the ISB acquisition. Part of my role in the community as a commercial investment realtor is to sell Daytona Beach every single day that I'm out there. By and far, this is critical to the continued success of what is happening in the area, and I believe that it is a good start. It is well overdue. It will, I believe, be part of the catalyst that helps redevelop that East ISB corridor. It is the vein bringing the lifeblood into the beachside area. We need this to happen, and we ask that for your consideration. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Eddie Hennessy, and on deck is Doyle Lewis.
Good evening, everybody. 140 South Atlantic Avenue, Eddie Hennessy. I am 100% for this acquisition. I think without this acquisition, Daytona will be standing exactly where it is. I am all for Daytona. I'm very proud of Daytona. And I feel like we've moved forward, and there's a lot of headway coming. So I feel as if we don't get together and do this, we're going to be at a standstill again. This is the world's most famous beach. That is our corridor. When people cross the bridge and see, the dilapidated buildings and no businesses, there's a reason for that. And it's not because of funding and all that. It's because of, real estate and positioning of properties. So, again, we are the world's most famous beach. Let's make Daytona great, and I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My next speaker is Doyle Lewis, and on deck is Loretta Arthur.
Good evening. My name is Doyle Lewis again. I'm going to school and studying to become a lawyer. The entire reason why I speak at these meetings is because of what's happened to me and the lies that's been told to me. That's how they take your money. Period. Seriously. It's the fish story of the world. And this goes right down to Daytona Beach and the corridor of 92 going through International Speedway, and I love racing automobiles. So I'm getting to my point, Mr. Mayor. Don't ever look at me like that again. All right? This is my time.
Well, this is the people's time, but make it.
Well, I'm a
worthy
person.
of us. Yeah, the people.
I got 33 seconds left on 1 minute.
Go ahead and use it.
So
before you
here
sit down.
I'm going to use it. Don't overtalk me.
Sit down. You're done. You're rude.
I'm
just
for it.
Unacceptable.
I'm for it.
So that's unacceptable. Thank you. Go sit down.
Our next speaker is Loretta Arthur.
Hi, City Manager, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Loretta Arthur, 211 East International Speedway Boulevard. I just want to say thank you for being up here and making some really challenging decisions. And what I have to say about East ISB is we have one of the busiest interchanges on I-95 right here in 92. We have Embry-Riddle. It's an international college. We have an international airport. We have our hospitals, we have Bethune-Cookman, we have our colleges all here, and it's all on this particular corridor. So if anyone from an international perspective to a local perspective comes to visit, whether it be to the college or flying into the airport or to the speedway, it's very likely they're going to take the most direct route over to the beach side because the beach is our greatest asset. It's our waterways and of course, our recreation activities. And it's about our presentation. When we have these guests coming into our community and they're coming over the bridge to see our beach, it's about that whole presentation that we present to them all the way through. So we have a lot of work to do in our city. There's no question about that. But if we can start from our edges and the most traveled perspective and perception and give them a good presentation, I think that'll help our reputation and it'll help our city in so many different ways. And I'm a great supporter of seeing East ISB transform into something that we can all be proud of all the way to the ocean. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That was my final speaker on this item, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, it's a very important item, as we all know. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission? Yes, ma'am.
I understand that part of this will be reimbursed to us by the Florida Department of Transportation.
That's correct.
Right, and I agree with Mr. Hennessy that we need to make Daytona Beach great again. They say the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. This is one step, and something we have to do. We have to do something different if we want to make Daytona Beach the greatest city in Florida. With all the amenities we have here, this is one more that we need.
Thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Gilliland?
I think it was March of last year when we passed the resolution, supporting this project, this FDOT project. This isn't a city project, and we're doing everything we can to try and move it forward. And some things hurt a little bit, and this is a bunch of money, and it hurts a little bit, but it's the right thing to do. And, us being able to bank up some land over there is only going to further show DOT that we're serious about getting this thing done. And if we can get in the work program, I'm still in favor of doing an advanced funding agreement with them. We've already passed a resolution for the 30% plans, the $750,000 that they're going to start using in July. That will be used for the bid for all the improvements, not just the roundabout, but wider sidewalks, better lighting, raised median, landscaping, something that's really going to make a difference in that corridor. And, this is, one of those early dominoes that needs to fall for that project to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, couldn't be better said. Commissioner, and again, thank you for your work with helping us to line things up. I do want to say that we've been talking about this, and it's kind of like Orange Avenue for eons. We talked about Orange Avenue and getting that project done, and it just, government oftentimes moves slowly, but it's in large part because it takes so many pieces that you have to put together, and you have to try to generate the revenue to make a project like this viable, because no matter what anyone says, I think that tonight as a commission, we're simply saying that we recognize that this is an important endeavor for the community. We've heard from our stakeholders, from the residents, from the businesses. I remember being down 4 years ago talking to Ms. Arthur and a group about this project and among others. But I think tonight we're making a tremendous statement, and it's a tremendous cost, but one that I think in the long run, when we think years down the line, we'll look back and say that it was well worth it. So if there are no further comments, we have a motion, we have a second. All those who are in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, so last item, do we have any comments from any members of the CRA? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn in just a moment. And we reconvene with our regularly scheduled city commission meeting in about 5 minutes. So thank you.